to a special edition of Crawford County Outdoors. We're at Conneaut Lake Sportsman's Club today, and Bill Eldridge is going to be our presenter here. So what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about basically the history of the Conneaut Lake Community Development Committee. We were formed in 2007, but really got full steam going in about 2010.
Okay.
And so I have a lot of details about what we've accomplished in way of projects and fundraising and the result and the reaction of the local community, which has been wonderful.
I know a lot of stuff has been going on for the last couple of years, so I'm really thrilled to hear about all that stuff coming up.
I'd like to start off by pointing out all the pictures you're going to see here are screenshots from our webpage, our newly created, revised webpage. And so if you don't remember anything else, remember that webpage address. And it's newconneautlake.com. So everything you see here, you can, if you want to go back and review, you can look at it online when you have time. But, and bear with me, I know that the type is small on these charts, especially some of the other ones. I intend to read all of this, so you'll get the idea of what the point is. And I've been told that after 40 minutes, they'll come out with a hook and remove me from the stage. So I will be done in less than 40 minutes. And please feel free to interrupt me with questions. I don't mind questions. Just, whenever you feel there's a need for a question, please go ahead and do that. So this is my opening slide here, and our committee is called the Conneaut Lake Community Development Committee, and we also affectionately refer to ourselves as the CLCDC. And I'm going to give you a brief history of the organization, but mostly I'm going to tell you what we have done, what we've accomplished in chronological order, and you'll see about 12 years of history here when I'm done. So, starting out, what I'm saying here is our organization is made up of local business owners and citizens who share a common goal of revitalizing downtown Conneaut Lake Borough and Fireman's Beach. And this might seem like a peculiar chart. It shows a map of Pennsylvania with a little circle where Conneaut Lake is. And we thought right off we wanted to do that because, believe it or not, we've had people calling us, contacting us, believing that we were in Conneaut, Ohio. So we just want to make that clear up front. We're Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania. And so, now a little bit of history. The origins of the CLCDC go back to the 2007 time frame. And actually there was a big truck came through town, collided with the overhead wires on Water Street, which are no longer there, thanks to us. But that motivated Kathy Moss to have a discussion with the President of Borough Council, Dick Hollabaugh, and a group was formed. And very quickly, the group was called the Conneaut Lake Task Force. And that group, some of those members are here tonight. Bob Moss, Ed Yates are both here. And Dr. Bob Moyers was part of the originating group. And so it wasn't long after when they got together and organized a little bit more, and they decided a more appropriate name was the Conneaut Lake Community Development Committee. And the first things they did, they pursued memorialized benches. They'd already had benches in Ice House Park, but they were looking at a few other locations to continue that effort. And another issue that they wanted to approach was the dry alcohol town status. They wanted to address that. And so the current officers there are three of us. I'm the chairman, Chad is the treasurer, and Melissa is the secretary. And I think it's proof that we work well together as a team because all of us have been in this position now for over 10 years, 11 years. And We're still at it. Next chart. So when we first started, this goes back to 2011, we knew that we need professional help. We needed to hire a consultant to tell us how should we go about rebuilding the town if we could. And we hired a company called EG&G, and the principal was John Grossman, who was very experienced and very highly regarded in this kind of work. And John came here and actually tutored us quite a bit, and he really explained to us that in order to do anything like this in a town, you need to have a master plan. You need to have a plan that you can give to funding agencies, government agencies, or private entities that doesn't just talk about what you're asking for funding for at the moment, but it gives the big picture, the long-range vision, the plan. And so we did develop that long-range plan, and there were a couple of reports that go along with it. One was the 2012 as-is conditions of the town, which was a 20, 30-page report with photographs of the town and just this description of what it looked like. And if you all can remember back then, our sidewalks were falling apart. We didn't have a lot of curbs. And it was one thing to be in town, and people kind of got used to that, but to actually see it documented in a report was pretty moving. And so we had that report, and then we had town hall meetings. We had them at the fire hall, and we had a good attendance, 30, 40 people, 2 different times. And we, CT consultants, EG&G, went through this procedure, interviewing people and asking their opinions about what they thought needed to be changed. And the final result of all of that was this plan, and it's very detailed. You probably can't see it, but you can imagine this is Fireman's Beach right here. And this is the main business section downtown, 4 intersections from 1st Street to 4th Street. And everything that's in color is an area that we said there's a lot of room for improvement. We need to take this piece by piece and make some improvements. And so, by the way, we ended up spending $110,000 on this effort, which was an enormous amount of money for us back then. We didn't have much money to start out with, but we were able to raise that money. We got a $25,000 grant from the state of Pennsylvania, Department of Community Economic Development. But the rest of it we raised locally from donations from people. And as we found out, that master plan was the first thing that agencies asked for when you went with your hand out looking for money. And shortly after that, this is now in the 2013 time frame, as many of you remember, the High Street Community Church was vacated, and it was actually a real estate property up for sale. And members of our committee who had a certain sense of historical preservation were very concerned that someone would buy this beautiful building and do something very commonplace, like a Pizza Hut or a flea market vendor. So we talked about what can we do, and as we were talking, our longtime members, Ron and Gail Anderson, heard this, and in a very low-key way, very quietly, Ron purchased the property and started a plan to renovate it. His business is building development, so he certainly was very experienced. And I'm going to read this to you. They purchased the historic building and decided that it would be much more valuable as a borough town hall and a community center. With his expertise, he successfully property developed for him to visualize the transformation of the property to a vibrant, self-sustaining town hall. After a short discussion at the CLCDC meeting, he announced that he was going to explore that possibility. And within less than 1 year, Anderson's company transformed the historic church into a fully modernized building, code-compliant, ADA accessible municipal office complex on the basement level. with 6 offices, a kitchenette, a conference room, a restrooms, a utility room, ADA compliant elevator, while also a stunning chandelier illuminating a large community meeting space on the first floor. For the first time in over 50 years, the new town hall was once again crowned in a 30-foot custom-made steeple illuminated at night for all to appreciate. The borough operating expenses for the new facility were quietly resolved when the borough office, the municipal authority office, and the existing Pennsylvania State Representative Parkland offices were consolidated, and as income generated for those spaces, and in addition, the rental of town hall provided additional revenue. The facility was donated free and clear as a ready-to-move-in turnkey operation to the citizens of Conneaut Lake in November of 2014. The building alone, not including the donated land or the contents, is insured at a replacement value of $962,000. So, significant accomplishment there. Back in those days, again, I'm going back to 2014, we decided that, again, keeping in line with the history of Conneaut Lake, that we should partner with Allegheny College Professor of Art Mara Gaffin to jointly request funding from the National Endowment of the Arts under the Art Town Initiative in 2014. And we were chosen to receive a $75,000 grant, which had a 100% match requirement, meaning that it would be a $150,000 project in total. After 2 years of planning and community engagement, it was decided that a 10-foot high, nearly 3,000-pound woolly mammoth sculpture would be installed on the lake at Fireman's Beach. A woolly mammoth was chosen because of the history of the woolly mammoth in the area. There are currently bones of a woolly mammoth that were discovered in the lake in the Historical Society Museum, and there are other bones still in the lake. The welding shop owner, Craig Newell of Cambridge Springs, was selected to fabricate Professor Geffen's design conception, which was it consisted of steel locked together to form a shell that was overlaid with steel rods, giving it a basket weave type appearance. When it was completed, the steel form was removed, and the body of the woolly mammoth was all that remained, thus giving it a basket weave pattern so that it looks like a mastodon up close. But when the viewer stands back, the shape comes into mind. Geffen's involvement also included the participation of Allegheny College art students who collected local stories through the community engagement events that we had at the town hall and elsewhere in town. And if you walk up to the sculpture and look very carefully, there are snippets of those stories. They're actually laser cut into various pieces of the sculpture there. So we thought that not only did it give us a sense of place, but it also, we believe it also promotes economic growth through the town. Another mission area that we've created for ourselves is community and cultural events. Our mission includes to improve the quality of life in Conneaut Lake. In this regard, we periodically organize and present events for the benefit and pleasure of the local citizens. This includes the Winter Ice House Festival and has included public concerts by the 28th Division Pennsylvania Army National Band, which is pictured there at Ice House Park, theater performance at the town hall, such as It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart tribute performance by actor Chris Collins, and hosting the annual rest stop for the Pedal of the Lakes bicycle outing. We continue to look for community strengthening and family-oriented experiences that can benefit the lake citizens. And so this was the It's a Wonderful Life performance that we had at the town hall, and we had Chris, the movie actor there, and we also had the film. And this is the Conneaut Lakes rest stop that we set up outside of the town hall. And I'm happy to say that this year is the 4th year that we've done this. This year we had 47 riders come through, and a lot of these people have never been to Conneaut Lake before. So they're quite interested when they get here and they stop. We are able to talk with them and give them snacks and a nice break. Most of the people who come by way of Conneaut Lake are people who are doing the 100-mile ride. So imagine that in one day they're all going 100 miles on those bikes. So they really appreciated the rest stop and refreshments and everything they got along the way. And just recently, we had some of you, I remember seeing you there. We had the concert at Ice House Park. Justin Gray performed for us one night. We had a very good turnout for that. Going back to 2015, we were contacted by a real estate agent that was working with Hudson Properties out of Hermitage, and they were interested in the possibility of constructing a senior living facility in Conneaut Lake, but they weren't sure if the local population would be in favor of that. They weren't sure if the zoning would be okay, and the funding was a big issue. So we worked with them and got the county on board. The county actually gave them a little bit of seed money to start up, and Senator Michelle Brooks was very helpful in this regard. She was very instrumental in getting Hudson approved for the loan from the Pennsylvania Financing Authority, and this turned out to be a beautiful facility. I'm sure you've all seen it. The name Evans Square, which is what we call this, is from the original name of our small town, which was Evansburg, back in 1799, after local farmer Abner Evans. And in 1892, Evansburg was changed to Conneaut Lake, and has since become a tranquil lake town that lifetime Conneaut Lake residents and summertime visitors call home. The design of Evans Square encapsulates the local lake town aesthetic through its wraparound porches, flowing stone fountain, and pastel interiors. If anyone is interested in any information on Evans Square for vacancies or apartments, there is a web page on our web page. It's right there, evanssquare.com. And then in 2018, we started a major project of renovating Fireman's Beach and simultaneously Water Street at the same time. We wanted to make it a showplace destination for local citizens and visitors alike. The existing park had many deficiencies and worn-out facilities. After much work, funding for the project was obtained from multiple sources. The primary government sponsor was the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Natural Resources, providing the first $775,000, but more was needed. Eventually, the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, and Crawford County and Conneaut Lake Borough and the CLCDC and private citizens all donated funding for this project with an additional $950,000 investment in the new park. Much of the work needed was really invisible. It was infrastructure underground, which included earth moving, hardening wet ground, redirecting underground utilities and natural springs, underwater boat launch, removal and rebuilding, underwater boat dock anchor system. Overhead electrical lines were redirected and placed underground. All of these modifications created a blank canvas for the impression above ground visible improvements. These include new ADA accessible metal floating dock system, a new lakefront promenade, electrical service, new storm drain systems. There is a walkable lakefront promenade, which makes the connection directly between Fireman's Beach and Ice House Park. And that, by the way, was made possible by a very generous donation of lakefront property that separated the two properties of Fireman's Beach and Ice House Park. Bob Moss was very generous in donating the lakefront piece of property that we then used to, in effect, connect Fireman's Beach to Ice House Park. And so this park has become a self-sufficient revenue generator for the benefit of all the local citizens. And there's the promenade that I was talking about. This is at the end of the North First Street and Ice House Park. And it literally goes the whole way down to the swimming beach, which is way at the end of that. And there's a photograph of the new, newly paved, organized parking lot and the ADA accessible metal floating docks that are now in place. And through the leasing of these facilities, the park is financially self-sufficient. The borough rents these docks out, and there's always a waiting list. There are never any empty docks because people appreciate the location and the facilities. And as I mentioned, simultaneously, besides doing Fireman's Beach, we were also interested in renovating Water Street. There's a clear need to repair the downtown infrastructure, and documented, as I mentioned before, in our existing conditions report. We set out a determined effort to seek grant funding for necessary repairs. The first priority was to document a preliminary engineering plan for improvement and related cost estimates. Funding for the overall project was gradually obtained in segments, starting with a $150,000 grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission for engineering and stormwater management, $375,000 from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, and also we were awarded a $1 million grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration. We're very proud of that. There aren't too many small boroughs in the state of Pennsylvania or nationally, towns of 500 people that receive $1 million grant from the Department of Commerce. And we also received $400,000 from PennDOT for the highways and the sidewalks and the curbing, and $215,000 from Crawford County Resources, and $60,000 that our committee raised as matching funds for all of that. And I'm describing this as Water Street renovation phase 1 because there is a phase 2. Hopefully there's going to be a phase 3. But the construction of Water Street between Route 322, the boundary, and 2nd Street was completed simultaneously as a reconstruction of Fireman's Beach in 2018. The improvements included underground storm water drainage, relocation of overhead electrical and telecommunication lines, removal of telephone, highways, streetlight poles, commercial building ADA entry ramps, which we actually put on private property, sidewalks, driveway aprons, street resurfacing, including directional traffic lines, underground infrastructure and electronic controls for traffic signalization, new traffic signalization, pedestrian crosswalks with push-button controls, landscaping, you can see an example of that right here, and LED light fixtures, the street lights are new decorative lights, and modern signage. This is a sign that we provided for this business here in Newfoundland, which I'll show you on the next chart, at the butcher shop. So because of the extensive nature and the need for repairs, the remaining portions of Water Street upgrades were planned for a future phase of the overall development. Livingston's. And so maybe some of you remember in 2019, this had been discussed in our committee for many years, and there certainly are Pennsylvania state laws regarding ballot questions. And so we had to follow the rules, and we spearheaded a liquor license adoption initiative to change the Conneaut Lake Borough from a dry to a wet town in the May 21st primary election ballot. And the state law dictates that it must be the primary election, not the major election. The proposed ballot question was, do you favor granting of liquor licenses to hotels, restaurants, and clubs in the borough of Conneaut Lake? The CLCDC led a grassroots effort to obtain more than the minimum number of petition signatures, which was 75, by not later than February of 2019, to get the question on the ballot for citizen approval. The goal of this initiative was to significantly impact the future economy of the borough by attracting upscale restaurants, bed and breakfasts, thereby stimulating current business and new business opportunities, as well as increasing the tax base for improved borough tax revenues. The ballot question was approved in the May 21st election by the citizens of Conneaut Lake by a margin of 91 in favor and 48 against. And here is phase two. Phase one of Water Street went from First Street, from the borough boundary to Second Street. And phase two goes from Second Street to Third Street. And so we were successful in receiving a PennDOT grant for this project, a $475,000 grant for continued improvements. This phase project includes new sidewalks, driveway aprons, stormwater drainage, replacement of curbing, pedestrian crosswalks, decorative street lighting, removal of overhead wiring and utility poles, and new Water Street pavement markings, all planning in coordination with PennDOT, the selected building contractor, quality inspection firm, the borough, and all impacted businesses within the construction zone on Water Street were handled by the CLCDC. The actual construction was delayed due to COVID-19 moratorium by PennDOT. Construction began in March of 2021 and was completed in July of 2021. The final work resulted in the extension of the downtown business district renovation beyond the phase one project, which ended at the Second Street intersection. As a result of this project, the CLCDC reached a new agreement with the Conneaut Lake Borough that acknowledged that the borough would no longer rely on the CLCDC for purely town infrastructure maintenance, which everything we did in this section was necessary maintenance of existing facilities, with the exception of the street lights. The decorative street lights were a new addition. And then shortly thereafter, in 2019, we were contacted by the Conneaut Lake Elementary School and asked to partner with them to design, erect, and partially fund a new playground to replace one that had been removed in preparation for the renovation of the beach in 2018. The school was successful in obtaining a playground grant from the Burns and Manick Corporation. The CLCDC sought additional funding from the PNC Foundation and local Kiwanis Club, and also contributed the remaining necessary funds. The $30,000 playground was located near the swim beach and concession stand, changing room facility, and provides a safe location away from moving vehicles for toddlers who are visiting the beach. Another enhancement at Fireman's Beach is the masked arm-style flagpole. We requested and received a grant from the Dietrich Foundation in 2019 for the addition of a noticeable flagpole at the entrance to Fireman's Beach. This flagpole is a maritime style with U.S. flag, a Pennsylvania state flag, and a sailor's gale warning flag. Another project, and this one is 2021, was the restoration of Memorial Park. In this effort, we partnered with the Conneaut Lake Kiwanis Club in the spring of 2021 to update the electrical infrastructure and the outdoor fixtures in Memorial Park. Funding for the engineering design, contracting, project oversight, and construction was shared by the Kiwanis and CLCDC. A donation to the Kiwanis by the Rutherford family was combined with additional CLCDC funding to finance the $17,000 renovation. The project resulted in the removal of all outdated electrical service, including wooden pole, overhead wiring, overhead speakers, etc., and provided all new underground electrical wiring, underground cabinet breakers, GFI outlets, and circuitry within Memorial Park. The existing light poles were replaced with concrete light poles that match the new decorative street light poles recently installed on Water Street. A new flagpole uplight with waterproof photocell controlled LED spotlight was provided to replace the old light fixture that was there. The concrete pads were installed and the new planters and benches replaced the old decaying fixtures that were removed. We also have a program of placing benches in appropriate places in town. Beginning in 2019, we offered these benches for adoption. The benches include a permanent concrete base and a permanent bronze plaque to memorialize the donor family for the life of the bench. These benches are very inviting and are used by sightseers to rest and take in a beautiful view of Conneaut Lake. The CLCDC has arranged for the adoption of 14 benches starting in 2019 at a value of over $40,000 in town improvements and increased local aesthetic appeal. Fireman's Beach has become a very popular location, including people walking their dogs. And so we noticed that the dog mess was an issue we thought we could deal with. And so we petitioned the borough to let us procure West pet waste stations due to the large number of visitors who walk their pet dogs and sometimes don't clean up afterwards. The gift also included a large supply of disposable plastic waste bags that are designed for these containers. The obvious display of cleanup bags has resulted in improved cleanliness of the lakefront promenade. When you walk down there, you see the sign, you see the bags, and they're free. So they are used quite a bit. We have, part of our mission is to maintain the improvements that we were responsible for making. And as any of you who have gardens know, the landscaping requires constant upkeep. And so we have a landscaping renewal project. Every year in the last 5 years, we've donated money. We've hired professional landscaping crews to come by. In 2023, we spent $5,500 for a landscaping company to come in. And it's a little tricky. What we have down there is beach moisture-tolerant native grass, rain gardens, and ornamental tree planting beds. This includes removal of all unwanted weeds, trimming of the grasses for new growth in the spring, edging the beds, and providing a new layer of mulch throughout the entire area. Professional landscapers were also hired in the 2 previous years at no cost to the borough, and also the CLCDC volunteers routinely get a group of us and go out there and do the weeding and cleanup ourselves. This year we hired, again, in 2024, we hired a professional landscaping firm to do the heavy duty work, and our volunteers followed up afterwards. And there was a little bit of a mess there because of the national fuel gas line coming through Fireman's Beach. But that was when it was brand new, and right now it pretty much looks like that again. And then in 2022, we decided to ask the borough if it would be okay for us to provide the town with new pole mount LED lighted Christmas snowflakes. The decorations were mounted on the now decorative light poles that the CLCDC had installed in 2018 and 2021. Those decorations have been very well received by residents and give the town a nice warm glow, even on the coldest of nights. The value of this CLCDC donation was $14,000. Our latest project is partnering with the Ernst Trail Group. We're actively supporting and promoting the completion of the Ernst Trail section known as the Nature Walk at Conneaut Lake. If you go over to the winery, you'll see that sign. And if you go back, you'll see this is the parking area and the beginning construction of the trailhead. There's more to come, but This will connect the lake to the existing Meadville Ernst Trail system of over 13 miles of off-road nature trails. The Conneaut Cellars Winery Trailhead will be the Conneaut Lake entry point and exit point, with plans to continue through the borough and eventually connect with the existing spillway trail in Linesville. In addition to creating a valuable community asset for safe outdoor recreation and wildlife viewing, the expected influx of visitors will boost the local economy. And right now, very recently, Palmero Toyota donated money for the construction of a wildlife viewing facility, which will be right down this road as you walk in. And the Ernst Trail people are also looking at a kiosk. It's actually a small building that the Meadville Public Library is wanting to get rid of. And the idea is that if we go there and take it away and move it out here, they'll just give it to us for free. And these bikes are part of what is the rideshare system that CAT had started in Meadville. As you can see, we now have 8 bikes out of the trailhead. All you need is a smartphone and a credit card, and you can rent these bikes, and you can bring them back here when you're done with them, or you can drop them off at any one of 3 or 4 other rideshare stations in Meadville. The Barber J, most of you know that, I'm sure, is the iconic real stern wheeler built in Michigan in 1955, and it's been cruising Conneaut Lake since 1972. And she has a covered lower deck and an open air upper deck. She is 62 feet long, weighs in at 45,000 pounds. Seating placement provides excellent viewing during the 1.5-hour ride cruise around the shoreline of the lake, and a fun and relaxing attraction unique to northwestern Pennsylvania. And just as a fact, most people don't know this, Barber J Cruises LLC is a nonprofit corporation. It was formed with the objective of preserving and operating the historic Barber J sternwheeler in Conneaut Lake for the long-term pleasure of the general public. The corporation is comprised of ownership and volunteers who are dedicated to the future of the Barber J on the lake. The modest fee collected for public rides and charters initially covers the cost of service and operating the boat. Any profits remaining at the end of the year are advanced to the CLCDC fund, which was established to accept tax-deductible donations for the specific goal of providing maintenance funds for the revitalization work that is underway in the borough and at Fireman's Beach. And you probably know that the Barber J got a late start this year, but maybe you don't know because it was massively renovated. Carol, you have a few words you can tell us about what was upgraded on the Barber J?
Well, when they started opening up, we replaced some of the wood and things like that, and not that all well needed to be replaced. So the upstairs we have from the ground strip, and we replaced all the countertops, the cabinets. We replaced, took all the wood off and put it in with the plastic items, and that will
the pilot house is completely rebuilt, and the inside of the lower deck, both the walls and the flooring were all renovated and upgraded. So essentially, from the bottom up, it's almost a new boat.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea that will last for many years to come. Both Chad and Carol are responsible for managing the operations of the Barber J, and we're thankful to them for that as part of our committee effort. And the Winter Ice House Festival this year is scheduled for December the 7th, 2024. It celebrates our community and ice harvesting industry at Conneaut Lake. The artistic ice sculptures, outdoor exhibits, indoor entertainment, development, our local economy, and provide a memorable experience for people of all ages to enjoy downtown Conneaut Lake in the wintertime. And so here's what you might see if you attend the festival. Coincidentally, it does happen at the same time of year. We have the trees of lights, hundreds of lighted trees around the lake. And we all kinds of sponsorship opportunities have been for anybody who's interested for either small sculptures such as that or larger sculptures. We have a number of very generous major sponsors. Chenlock does its flyers, ice flyers for us every year. The Hudson Company usually has something pretty exciting. Armstrong Cable sometimes chips in some money. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. That's the last topic. I did want to point out once more that if anyone is motivated to make a financial donation to our efforts, the very first page of our webpage, there is a donation section there. It's very easy to donate either online or send us a check or something like that. So, are there any questions? Must be one question.
Bill, can you tell us how much in grant you receive now? Last I heard it was over $4 million. Is it more than that now?
I was hoping someone was keeping track. All the numbers are on the webpage, and all the charts that you saw, the numbers are there. And believe it or not, the number is $15,500,000. That's the investment cost that we put into it. That's not measuring the recurring benefit to the borough. A lot of these efforts have brought businesses here, have brought visitors here, and so we feel as though we've been very successful in accomplishing our mission, and we're still going strong. But we've been very fortunate. If you caught the one chart where we said the CLCDC is not going to do infrastructure upgrades anymore, I wear another hat. I'm a borough councilman. So with my other hat, I've also raised another $2 million for traffic signals. We've just finished the traffic signal on 2nd Street, and which the CLCDC didn't get that grant. I think I went by that chart accidentally. Yeah, I did talk about that. These are the new signals at 2nd Street. And we, the CLCDC, actually obtained a $220,000 grant for that, and required a $55,000 match, and the CLCDC chipped in $10,000 of that match to help the borough make it happen. So we have one of our 4 major intersections that has new traffic signals, and in my other work, we now have funding for traffic signals, new traffic signals at the other 3 intersections, 1st Street, 3rd Street, and 4th Street. So, 15 million and counting, depending on how you look at it. Other questions? I'm sorry, that was 43 minutes. I went over 3 minutes. Bob?
Bill, it's interesting that the location of the gazebo was determined by the location of the tent when the Army band was here. Talked about where to put it, and because of the success of it being at that end of the park, that's why the gazebo's at that end of the park.
It was a tough decision. We knew we were going to have a lot of people because this band is a big deal. They're very much in demand around Pennsylvania, and it was quite an accomplishment for us to get them to come here. And so we didn't want to put the tent right in the smack middle of the park because that would obstruct the view of the lake, and it would also take up seating. So we decided to put it where the gazebo is now, and it turned out to be the right location. Very good. Anyone else? Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Well, thank you for joining us here. We learned an awful lot about Conneaut Lake and all kinds of cool stuff going on here. Well, thanks for joining us on Crawford County Outdoors, and we will talk to you next time.